Hello, am I audible? Let me check, please. Hello, everybody. Hello. Am I audible? Let me check now. Yeah. So I think I am audible. So yeah, very good. Should I start? Okay, fine. Uh, Very good afternoon to all of you. Uh, my name is Subrata De. I am an exercise physiologist, and first of all, I would like to congratulate Team PEFI because they give me this opportunity today in this platform to interact with you all, and so for that I am really happy. And I would like to congratulate Team PEFI for their new recognition. Recently they got the recognition of NSOP, that is National Sports Promotion Organization, from Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. So I hope you all are doing well and staying at home and safe. So today I will be talking on the topic which is already you know all, which is sports science culture and how does the new trends of sports science research support the athletes, right? So for this today throughout session I will take just divide into two parts. First we will be talking about the sports science new research and the trends and what are the upcoming time, how this sports science can be helpful for our sports promotion and particularly in athletes perspective. And second part I will be talking about the what are the coming time opportunities and what are the career aspect in future in Indian settings. So before going to in depth of sports sciences culture, that is sports sciences research trends, I will I will be talking one more thing. I will be talking in both Hindi and English as well. Okay, and the participant who are there, I will be interacting with them, and the interaction session will be after my presentation. And whatever the doubts and whatever the queries related to my topic and others, you can text me here, and definitely I will try to interact, and it will be after the session. Okay, so let's start with the presentation. The topic, that is sports science culture and how does the new trends of sports science research support the athletes. So I think my screen is visible, right? Yeah. So let's start. What is sports science? Today in 21st and century, see, we are everyone talking about sports promotion, sports culture in our country, and parallelly we are talking about sports sciences. So it's a science or something else? So sports science, it's an interdisciplinary field that explores the complex nature of the human movement and how the body responds to acute and chronic physical exertion, from fitness training to recreational and professional sports, right? So another we can say sports science, it's nothing but the composition or compression of all the discipline like sports medicine, from exercise and sports physiology, sports psychology, sports training, conditioning, and of course sports nutrition and sports biomechanics and the sports training. So sports science is the core discipline that explores the factors influencing sports performance and the strategies how to improve it. In other words, we can say in this it's a study of athletes, how their bodies produce energy for physical activity, how they recover and the recovery status, and how the theory behind every scientific training. So this subject deals with all of this like biomechanics, other subject also. So first part of my presentation, that is sports science. So here we just cover what are the main disciplines regarding sports science. Now the questions come: is this sports science is young as a science? Although we know science like basic sciences and pure sciences, so we can say even though there are other science like core sciences, so sports science particularly it's a like not division fundamental science like basic biology, chemistry, education and mathematics and physics. So characteristically sports science lends to knowledge the scientific methodology and the principle that have originally been developed by fundamentals of science. So in fact sports science is not a single science, rather a vastly, that is heterogeneous family of sciences which shared the same area of sports interest. So therefore instead of sports science we can merely say sports sciences, because as you know there are other disciplines there also. So now the question again come: role of sports science. Why sports sciences is needed, and what are the main majority of activities done by sports scientists? Exactly what they are doing and what's their main role for sports performance. First, I just put it in just little points here like specialization early and late in sports. Now let me explain specialization. When we talk about specialization, it means something like athlete when he's like junior, that time he will be a hockey player, he will be a fencer, he will be a boxer, or he will be a wrestler. So we don't know. So from early, that is beginning, that time it's not okay, they can not decide particularly. So before selecting particular specialization of game, he will be or she will be in a particular sport, they have to play, and with the course of time they can understand then what's the ability and capacity he's having particular sports. So these things we have to we have to realize. And how we can realize? Of course without science we cannot say, we cannot decide particularly on the basis of coaching and others. So there we can take part in science, they can help, and which discipline like talent identification and the others. And second thing, essential to play, that is I quoted here multiple sports. Why? Because when players start playing, they should play multiple sports to achieve or excellence in a particular sporting event. He or she must have to be like other disciplines, they have to be start their play. Because if say for example, we know already one of our greatest cricketer, A.V. de Villiers, he is also a good rugby player, he is also a good athlete apart from cricket. So multiple sports if we start for like starting recreational, that time we can explore these things. Okay. And second, don't be specialized too early. That in first point I explained this, and let them play. That is the main motto. With the help of science, you just analyze, you just determine, and specifically then you can choose that okay, they are fit for this particular event. And what we take the science, that's initially I started that what exactly sports science do. This is nothing but, or we can say the sports science, they are taking the main principle, what are the main scientific principle, what are the science behind each and every sports, and we can apply this. And next point, that is improve sports performance. Of course sports performance, that is the main motto and main goal of sports scientists for every sporting events. So like another aspect that we can focus here, best body typing in sports. Yeah, this is a big question. Sometimes people may ask you that okay, which type of body is fixed for volleyball, which type of body is suitable for swimmers. So before selecting every sport, again the topic is coming, selecting a particular sport or event. So there you can analysis, and with the help of science you can go. So as a sports scientist, we generally consider human body as a different parts or sum of its parts, like say for example cardiovascular, heart, like digestive, like endocrinal, everything, respiratory. There are different parts. So it's like a sum of its parts and cumulative effect. Okay, so sports sciences, there are other discipline that is composed of sports sciences like sports anthropometry, know all, sports biomechanics, sports biochemistry, physiology, sports nutrition, and so these are total combined subjects gone through in sports sciences, right? So now first sports anthropometry. Although we know the basic of sports anthropometry, so little bit just point I can touch here, like sports anthropometry people, what they do. They are like related to athletes perspective and sports science particularly. Some of these are like physics, body composition. Of course, body composition is the main parameter of sports anthropometry, and their analysis and everything you have to analyze properly. And another thing, talent identification, that I already told in what the role of sports scientist. So anthropometry people, they can identify what the ideal age of a particular sporting event, and what are the body composition factors, how they can influence a particular body of athletes. And other thing, evaluation of human body size, of course, again same talk. And another one is ergonomical application. This is little bit related to what are the measurement properly related to work and all. And somatotyping, we know all this related to somatotyping, and their body type, somatotyping quantification to improve biochemical and others limitation like improve physiology and performance, resulting improvement of sports performance. Ultimate, the same story. These are the quite related to body composition parameter, generally we used for research purpose also. Those sports biomechanics, sports anthropometry people do, like biceps, triceps, we all know this related to parameters. Now comes to the point in anthropometrical aspects of good sports performance. Yeah, so for particularly again the somatotyping, body mass, body composition, what will be the ideal body composition for a shooter, what will be the ideal body composition for a sprinter. So these things in depth with scientific base they can analyze, they can make a cutoff, then this is the ideal body weight, this is the proper everything they can ideally they can analyze. Okay, so now second, that is biomechanics. We all know about sports biomechanics, so here just I put little bit idea that what are the biomechanics and what the basic of biomechanics. Biomechanics, bio it's meant of course life, and mechanics it's mean it use the principle of core science, that is physical sciences like physics, and all about the movement and the analysis and motion. So I just put related to research work, what are biomechanics do they people. Evaluation, number one, evaluation of existing training for learning and training. So whatever things existed, they can update it by doing their research, and how their influence putting activity they can analyze these things. Secondly, find out the fault in the execution of technique. Yeah, it's a in particularly in picture you can see here how should be bent properly, what will be the angle, proper angle, and how in case of throwers if you observe what will be the proper angle for pole vault, what should be the proper direction, how to execute. So that part they can analyze through updating new knowledge, and find out the cause of fault of the exertion of the technique. Yeah, so it is quite visible here which is the proper angle and technique, so that part they can done. These are the related to biomechanics applications in sports, what are the sports particularly biomechanics people perform. And another thing, development of new technique. Yeah, nowadays see sports biomechanics, okay, they knows the proper science of how the principle like physics they can apply it, but nowadays what happen in sports sciences, lot of things are updating, so relate to the what are the exist, they can develop, they can update it proper, what should be the proper angle, again same talk. And another thing, motion. So these are the areas that biomechanics people can perform their basic research parameters they can analyze. So like motion, there are two motions like linear motion and another one that is angular motion. We know about these things. So these are the basic areas, or you can say the basic parameters that sports biomechanics people can perform or they can use to analyze these things. So once again in depth, if we look in depth in two parts like biomechanics, Once again, I told already life and that mechanism, that is principle of physics. So kinematics and kinetics. Kinematics and kinetics. So kinematics, it describes motion of the body. It's for like velocity, like a speed, what is the gravity, acceleration, and the distance. These are the areas of studies they can analyze, they can correlate. And kinetics, that is what cause a body to move, right? So here inertia, mass, weight, impulse, and force, momentum, everything is there. Now I will talk on some new research trend in biomechanics. So we know already about we know that about the sports platform. This is one of the new and the latest technology, and we can explore this. Even in India, we have that in for Sports Authority of India, Sai Patiala Biomechanics Center department. They already got this sports platform. They can analyze properly. They can know what are the proper angle, what are the proper force and motion, and these things. And another 3D video analysis, we know about 3D video analysis, and there they can do motion analysis also. And other for field, like they can use several times speed, light, timing gates, like running gates, and also the dynamometer. They can analyze the particular strength, like muscular and different parts of the body. They can measure the particular score strength. And next, coming to the next sports science subject, that is sports psychology. So we know about sports and psychology. And sports, any physical activity for the purposes of competition and recreation, education to health, or particularly health. And psychology, scientific study of human mind and behavior. So in particular sports, what sports psychologists can perform or what they can do, what are the if you consider what is their emotional level, emotional intelligence, their anxiety, how they are exposed to a particular cope up situation, how they can cope up. So these studies or this related to points they can analyze. So sports psychology is a broad, you can say, lot of physiological perspective, like emotional, like cognitive behavior aspects they can study. And what sports and exercise psychologists specially do, their role here I just put it in 3 types, like teaching, another one is research and counseling. So other thing that other main research areas that sports psychologists can perform, that is psychological orientation and social psychological orientation, cognitive behavior orientation. So here in depth they can study, they can explore, they can like sports psychological orientation. There they can examine the underlying sports psychological processes. And also for social psychological orientation, and their behavior in determined by a complex of situation they can analysis. Hello, yeah, am I audible? Hello, hello, am I audible? Sound is coming. I think it's sound is coming now. Yeah, sorry. So these are the quite aspects of sports psychology. And now coming to the next point, that is sports nutrition. So sports nutrition is the science of study of nutrients of food and the intake of food in relation to body's dietary needs. And the area of sports science involves the study of practice of nutrition relating to athlete performance. So it's deal with the understanding and the quantify the quality of nutrients required for a general health and peak performance of athletes. So now comes to the point, athletic performance. As we know that athletic performance is multifractional, and which apart from genetics it is influenced by training, like nutrition, and also of course their academics and their coach related athlete relationship, and other even also social life and their sleep patterns also, everything involved there. So the key areas of study under sports nutrition, here we categorize like one, individualized nutrition and dietary intake based on the training schedule. Okay, so sports training is specific to the individual athlete and is based on their physical and physiological capacity, of course, and because different sports or event, they are having their training pattern is different. So according to their training pattern, what are the requirement, like dietary requirement and their energy expenditure, it also different. So of course that's why it is different for individual sporting event. Another thing, training intensity, it's a varied throughout the calendar year, with each of workload being different across each day and across each, of course, individual. So thus making it a crucial for multiple planning of training of diet based on their energy and nutritional needs of the athletes. And second thing, sports specific nutrition, it is quite specific, like what are the events particular game and what are the requirements particular for every sporting event, that depends. And the concept of sports nutrition, that is sports specific SSN, that is sports specific nutrition grows. And third, that is recovery nutrition and meal timing. Of course recovery timing for every sport it is required, but how it is optimal and how it could be more beneficial, it could be depend on diet also. Another fourth, that is hydration status. Okay, and hydration status and strategies, considering a training lasting more than, say for example, 2 hours in a day up to 5 hours. In these cases of elite athletes, maintaining water and fluid balance is very crucial, and therefore determining hydration status and providing appropriate water or fluid and electrolytes are very important. And next point, coming to the fifth, that is nutrition for competition and under different environmental condition, right? So different nutrition status, like competition, pre-competition and different environmental condition, what should be, it's relate, of course, and these changes can affect performance and requires a designing of specific nutrition, that is the concept of nothing but sports specific nutrition again. And six, that is quite that supplement use, there are a lot of questions and lot of queries, that what would be the ideal supplement, what could be the supplement, and what are the doses and how we can take it. So dietary supplement industry is booming, and a nutritionist working with athletes need to understand the safety and efficacy and efficiency of the currently available supplement. And right now we can discuss then what's the role of a sports nutritionist. Sports nutritionists are increasingly hired to develop the diet and fluid plans for the individual athletes or teams. Another point, second, that is sports nutritionists have the training and flexibility to work with fitness clubs, maybe whatever they are attached with any club or any private practices or any hospitals or any consultant. So these are like as a whole nutritionist. And if we talk about sports nutritionists, so they should be more in depth related to sporting events and sports, and they have to understand. Apart from this, they may have also enter into the research, that can help athlete improve their athletic training and performance. And sports nutritionists should have the knowledge and experience of the following areas. So if we ask that what are the areas that can cover or that should be learned by a sports nutritionist, so these are like sports specific nutrition, exercise physiology, safe and effective nutrition assessment, clinical sports nutrition and medical nutrition therapy, designing and management of effective nutrition strategies, and of course diet. So now coming to the points, what are the new trends in sports nutrition research? First one is REDS, that is relative energy deficiency in sports, REDS so called. What is it? It is the condition of low energy availability affecting a male or female athlete of all levels or ages. So low energy availability, it can affect the male and female athlete of all level or all age. So what is the concept of energy availability? That must be understood before talking about REDS. And this is the current trends in depth sports nutrition. The people are working in these areas and they know more. And second thing, EA, that is energy availability. That is nothing but it's a part, you can say, before starting REDS they have to clear concept about energy availability. And another thing, that is low energy availability. This energy availability again low energy availability. This all have to be a clear concept and have to be incorporated with REDS. So before analyzing REDS and how the REDS you can analyze different tools or whatever, so before that you have to clear cut about this terminology. So these are the areas that sports nutrition working, and another, that is nutrigenetics and nutrigenomics. So what are these studies? It's defined as the science of effect of genetic variation of dietary responses and the role of nutrients and of course bioactive food components in gene expression. And another, that is sports specific nutrition. So these are you can say in the gist, what are the areas and what are the recent trends in sports sciences, particularly in nutrition. Coming to the next point, that is FAT, that is female athlete triad. It's not a new concept, but still sports nutrition are working in this area. It's a you can say it's a vast area they can analyze. What is it? Particularly in female athlete, is an it's a interrelationship of some dysfunction there, as you know, menstrual cycle and low energy availability and their weakness in decreased bone mineral density. So in this diagram, in green portion, you can see here everything adequate bone health, fine, and adequate energy availability is fine. When it's coming low to down due to this FAT, it suddenly, there are other factors, endocrinal and of course osteoporosis. Sorry. So these things can be happen. In depth they are studying, and it's a good concept for sports nutrition people. So these are the areas where sports nutritionists are working. And another thing, we know about concept of keto diet. It's a hot topic, you can say. Some days ago I also have watched one sports nutrition session. There everybody, coaches and players, they are asking, sir, what is keto diet? So I also new in this area. So here just I put it little bit idea what is keto diet. Keto, it means already you know ketone bodies and the formation, how its metabolism and energetics, you know. So pathways, and the keto diet is also known for being a low carbohydrate diet. Okay, so what the body produces ketones in the liver to be used as energy. It's referred to as many different names like ketogenic diet, low carbohydrate diet. It's all are nothing but synonyms. So low carb, high fat, LCHF, etc. So here the categorization of SKD, TKD and CKD. Nothing but standard ketogenic diet, target ketogenic diet and clinical ketogenic diet. Coming to the point, exercise and sports physiology. So these are the areas of mine, because we are working in this exercise physiology and sports. So coming to the point, what is exercise and what is sports physiology? So exercise physiology, as we know, it's the study of how the body responds and adapts to physical stress. And what about sports physiology? Sports physiology is the application of exercise physiology, application and their principle to guide training and of course enhance the sports performance. So exercise and sports physiology overlap significantly and therefore are generally considered together. Okay, so now assessment of health and fitness. Now why I put this, because as exercise physiologist, what are the areas and what are the research parameters they nurture? Among them, that is assessment of health and fitness, particularly physiological approach. We know about the PA or physical fitness, physical activity definition. I just put it like physical fitness is the ability of to perform muscular work and satisfactorily. So this is a little bit general idea. Now come to the physical fitness. How we can assess or what are the categories of physical fitness? One is we know about health related fitness, another one is motor skill related fitness. So health related, and that is one cardiovascular endurance. Okay, so in cardiovascular endurance, that what it is, of course it's aerobic endurance, and it measures the athlete's ability to continue the exercise which places demands on the circulatory and respiratory systems. And second is flexibility. 3, that is muscular strength. 4, muscular endurance and body composition, of course. And skill related, and that is quite common, that is agility, speed, power, balance, coordination, reaction time. So these are the parameters of health related and skill related related parameters of particularly in exercise physiology they can assess. So now come to the point, evaluation of assessment of health and fitness parameters. That is one is cardiorespiratory as we talk. So how we can assess as a sports physiologist, they can assess it both direct and indirect measurement, right? So for direct, like lab based testings is there for assessment of cardiorespiratory parameter like VO2 max, as we know about VO2 max, but everybody knows VO2 max, but it's when come to the assessment of point of view, they have to clear concept about how it can be assessed and what are the criteria and what are the factors that can helpful, that part have to understand. And second one, that is field testing. There are a lot of field testing, many gold standard field testing that can be used for cardiorespiratory fitness, like one is MSFT, that is also gold standard test, multiple fitness testing, that is so called beep test, and other that is lab based, I already discussed some GXT or TMT, and muscular, that is flexibility related to strength and fitness, and another body composition. Okay, so for body composition, lab based different measurements are there, like skin fold measurement, in body, bod fort, nowadays DEXA, that is gold standard, it is also there. Now coming to the next point, that is cardiorespiratory fitness evaluation. So coming to the point, cardiorespiratory here, as we know, cardiorespiratory means about aerobic capacity and aerobic power, that is VO2 max. So for that I told, for lab based test, that is gold standard GXT or TMT. There you can apply any protocol like Bruce protocol, bulk protocol, others protocol is also there, depending on their requirements and which group of athletes you are testing. You have to, as a sports physiologist, you have to decide. For submaximal test, like different step testing tests are there, like Harvard TFI and Queen's College test. It's very known and quite common. Others field testing, as I already told, for MSFT and Cooper VO2 max test and mile walk or run test. Now point is, when a sports physiologist assessed VO2 max through lab based or field based, then what are the suggestion and what exactly sports physiologists should do? So they can suggest, say for example, they assessed the VO2 max of players is 56 ml per kg per minute. So now, depending on their event or sporting game or event, they can suggest them that which kind of training they can take or which kind of training they should incorporate, or how they can design with their particular coaches. They can understand, they can discuss. So in general, for improve aerobic and anaerobic, I just put a little bit of idea, like training to improve maximal aerobic power has used three methods. One is interval training, yeah, and second is long or slow distance running, and another one is HIIT, that is high intensity interval training. Here I put high intensity or continuous exercise. And another point, that is all we know about altitude or hypoxic training. So there, the live high, train low, it's nothing but a protocol for hypoxic training. So there they can also improve, and nowadays it's also, you can say, in India, like our settings, hypoxic chamber already installed in others, many sports science center in Sports Authority of India. So athlete can take this training and they can get benefit from this altitude training, particularly aerobic, and not for other all events like athletics, distance and middle distance running performance event, they can get benefited. Now coming to the point, anaerobic power. So what are the training or what kind of aspect they can take for anaerobic power improvement? So generally, as we know, athletic event lasting 6 seconds depend on largely on anaerobic production of necessary energy. Training to improve particularly anaerobic power involves a special type of interval training. Okay, so in general, the interval training of short duration and consists of high intensity of exercise near maximal effort. Okay, so anaerobic training also improve the speed, of course, at which PC can be, that is phosphocreatine can be degenerate, and so that a faster ATP turnover is possible. So this translates into improved anaerobic performance. Now coming to the next, that is muscular assessment or muscular strength assessment. So for that, two types of, that is static, as we know, static muscular strength, and that is dynamic. So for static we can use hand grip strength, and for dynamic we can use bench press and other indoor stress. Now coming to the interesting point, that what are the recent research trends in sports physiology. So as we know, I think already heard about HRV, that is heart rate variability. So heart rate variability in our Indian settings, as sports physiology perspective, if we think it's a new and athletic population, it's not explored many. So we can explore this field for HRV because it's has a direct relation with training recovery and athletes' health. So heart rate we know already, and what about HRV? It's a measure of the bit-to-bit fluctuation. That is, as we know, the ECG. If we talk about ECG and their heart rate, that is intervals between R1. You can see in this image one R wave to another R wave. That is variation over time of period. So HRV, that is also good important physiological new parameters they can explore. We are also working on it. And HRV and sports physiology. So HRV on sports training, particularly if we continuously monitoring the training. So hello. Yeah. Sorry. So the training HRV on intensity of particular sports training, that is also important, and of course HRV is giving a quite result also nowadays. So accurately it reflects the recovery status, and sometimes we know overtraining. Yeah, so you can also monitor that the level of overtraining and the exposure of overtraining and their recovery status also at a time. Another point, that is the modulation of nervous systems. So HRV analysis in athletes may bring a new era of to find out the autonomic interplay regulating the cardiac activity, which is one of the predominant determinant of endurance capacity. So I will show you a video clip. There you can watch that HRV, how its work and how its relationship with athlete performance. Just
brought to you by the world's top experts. HR gives you the sum of total bits in 1 minute, which seems easy, but it isn't. With better information about HR variability, you can plan with scientific information.
HR variability represents variation between consecutive heartbeats. The cardiovascular system is controlled by autonomic regulation found in the sympathetic and parasympathetic pathway of the autonomic nervous system.
According to the evidence, analysis of HR variability can provide information about the athlete, from quality of life to physical fitness, as well as their performance stages.
Sympathetic activity increases cardiac contractility, whereas parasympathetic activity reduces HR. Balance in the autonomic nervous system can be altered by several forms of stress, such as incomplete recovery, illness, or psychological factors.
Heart rate variability and training. Is it important? Let's talk with Massimo Neri, Olympic fencing coach.
I have used the HRV method since 2010. I have improved my sport result and also the training management of my fencer. With this method I can be able to evaluate the recovery of my athletes and also change the daily workout if the fatigue is high or too high. In my opinion, the HRV method helped me to make the training safe and effective.
Every training stimulus produces a bodily reaction. With a heart rate variability, understanding an athlete's response to training stress gives us valuable information for planning.
Measuring HR variability can be divided into 3 classes: time domain, frequency domain, and non-linear. In the frequency domain, 3 main spectral components are distinguished: very low frequency, and high frequency. High frequency is related to cardiac vagal influence and represents parasympathetic activity, while low frequency reflects
HRV, when I was working in Sports Authority of India in NIS Patiala, we started this HRV related research. We started there, and these are one of the research poster I presented in DRDO conference and also in Sports Psychon 2017. So of course we have to think about and our HRV we can explore in sports and exercise physiology. So another thing, that is advanced complete pulmonary fitness, that is respiratory fitness testings. It is in this left side image you can see here, that is body plethysmography. Here it is very sophisticated instrument, and here you can get our athlete can get complete pulmonary and lung related function. Lot of parameters is there, like airway resistance, FRC, and single breath, and DELCO, that is diffusion capacity. Everything we can analyze and we can get the result also. And another one is that is metabolic analyzer and CPET, that is cardiopulmonary exercise testing. And here we can also get almost all the respiratory parameters, and for lab based testing like aerobic and cardiac we can explore this. These are quite new instrument and sophisticated instrument used in sports and exercise physiology. And another thing, as we know all, altitude or hypoxic training and its advancement in sports. Oh, okay. Video is, somebody is commenting. Video is not okay. Maybe poor connection. Sorry for that. Okay, so altitude training, here some points we put here, I put here for altitude training. It's a new concept, it's not new, but in Indian settings we can explore this also. And what are the training protocols? There are different training protocol for hypoxic training, although we know HIF, hypoxic inducible fracture, that is one of the good parameter for hypoxic training. Ultimate motor goal to improve their aerobic endurance and aerobic capacity. So now coming to the next point of new research area, I think everybody knows these those athletes. So sports genomics. So sports genomics is a relatively new scientific discipline focusing on the organization and functioning of genome of elite athletes. So the era of sports genomics began in early 20s after disciplining the human DNA. So particularly initially जब जिस time ये start हुआ था उसके बाद we have not explored in our settings. So nowadays we are also working, and we can explore this new research area, that is sports genomics, genetics, and research in athletes. So genetic factors have a great influence on over components of athlete performance, right? So such as endurance, strength, power, flexibility, neuromuscular coordination, psychological traits, and other phenotypes also. So accordingly, athlete status is a inheritable trait, right? So average 66%, depending on sports on discipline, on a variance, the athlete status is explained by additive genetic factor. So this genetic factors can be influenced or cannot be influenced, or really direct have relation. We can explore and we can think about the sports genetics in our settings. So now coming to the second part, that is sports sciences opportunities and what are the career perspectives in sports sciences. That part is here. So just see what are the scope of work after graduate or PGs on completion will have the knowledge or skill of abilities to work in sports science centers or professional sports organization. They can be explored like they can explore these areas like exercise and sports physiologist, movement analyst, biomechanics, sports psychologist, sports nutritionist, and sports anthropometrist. These are all the related scope of work related to sports sciences. So career opportunities, when you talk about, if we already know, and I think it's not quite well to all the stakeholders, or all we don't know about that our Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India launches a scheme, that is NCSSR, that is earlier National Center of Sports Science and Research. So this scheme aims to support high performance research, education and innovation with respect of enhancing performance of elite athlete. So under this scheme, MAS, Government of India, has funded some universities, several 6 universities or institute, which are offering 2 years master courses of different sports sciences subjects. The name of the institute and the universities is listed below. Just have a look. So one is that is my institute I am working here right now, ICMR NIN. We are offering sports nutrition courses. Yesterday we also released our new advertisement for MSc Sports Nutrition students for this current session 2020-2021. So another second, that is Department of Sports Science, Punjabi University, and third RKMVUR Calcutta, and fourth is University of Calcutta, Central University of Rajasthan. Here you can see the courses offered by particular department and state and status. I put like this. And second, next other 7, that is LNIP Gwalior. They are also offering for the MSc Exercise Physiology, MSc Sports Biomechanics and Sports Psychology courses. So here is the list of all the sports sciences department where the sports science academic as well as research facilities available. And last here 17 Faculty of Sports Sciences, NSSC, SI Bengaluru, their centers also having sports under Sports Authority of India, having this academic research facilities labs are there. 18, that is head office side, and 19 we already know recently Government of Punjab, they launched this university, and also the courses prospectus they also released. So this is also basically a state university, that is Punjab Sports University. They are also offering sports sciences courses, sports nutrition and dietetics, and PG diploma courses also. And 20, that is DPSRU, that is Delhi Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research University. So they are also offering basic sports science honors courses, and also apart from this diploma in sports pharmacy and sports management respectively, they are also offering. So this list I prepared based on the research and academic facility available throughout our country, and almost I try to cover all the institute or university. If something, any suggestion or any have to update, you can mail me this mail ID, and these are the sources I got. And another point, that is sports science research and trends, particularly in our country setting, and what are the culture it's going on. Again, our Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports is operating various schemes, as you know, from earlier to till date. So the scheme basically what is aims and motto to providing financial assistance they are giving to ultimate upgradation skill in sports and sports sciences. So there are 2 types of schemes are there, particularly sports science research. One is fellowship program. It is variously sports science discipline, like having relevance to subject like sports sciences, sports biomechanics, sports anthropometry, sports physiology, GTMT, general training and methods, and sports biochemistry they are giving. Apart from that, research, it is intended to provide financial grants, that is our MAS government is giving the funds for particular research projects which is relevant to the sports science and sports sciences. So there it will come under R&D, that's a research and development study. So HRD, they also propose this proposal, human resource development in sports. So these things we can explore in our country scenario. We can give enthu, we can give new era for particular sports sciences, that lot of things are going, lot of things are there, they can explore. So finally, I acknowledged throughout this presentation for giving me the opportunity also and permission my HOD Dr. Y. Venkatramana sir, and I extend my special thanks to Dr. Mithilesh Tiwari and Rahul Tiwari, my fellow mate, and Ms. Sudeshna Bhomik, she is also my colleague here working in sports nutrition. And Dr. Karen Susan Cherens is scientist B nutrition for helping and their valuable suggestion. So finally I can conclude here that we have to learn, we have to live and we have to upgrade ourselves through sports and sports sciences. Ultimate motto to work with our sports gurus like coaches and sports scientists, and ultimately we can promote our country's sports promotion one day, definitely. So that's all for today's presentation. I can finish this presentation right now here, and we will be talking about question answer, and I will be interacting you all. So any queries, any questions related to today's presentation, please now tell me. I will interact with you all. Yes, I think I'm audible now. Yeah. Any questions? Vikas Kumar Sharma ji, he is asking sir whether the value of VO2 max through twin step is same with ergometer or other laboratory test. Yes, Vivek ji, Vikas Kumar ji, yeah, there would be difference, but not more than like cutoff will be there, some statistical significance will be there, but it will be differ up to a level, and it is not so that somebody's VO2 max you are getting 56 or 58 and other is it's like 70. It will be not like that. Your voice is sorry. Please, any questions you can ask. Can you send the course brochure? Okay, this course brochure will be available in PEFI, Physical Education Foundation, in their site. They will upload it once it will finalized and checked, and then you will get from there. Also, you can put me mail, I can share. Somebody is asking about courses related to subject. You can please ask me about sports physiology, other questions. So these are all. We can wind up here. If any queries, questions related to today's topic, you can write me, and also you can I think in this chat it is there, my number and details and email ID. You can ask anytime related to any queries and doubt. So any other questions is there? I know some network issues is there. There is no PPT on screen, doctor. I don't know. Is it visible or not? Please suggest any new trends in sports research field. Yeah, Mr. Ansar Abdul, he is asking about please suggest new trends in sports science research field. So whatever I discussed here over here,